Hi, welcome. We're live. This is Wednesday. No, this is Friday. This is Friday, November the 1st already. My goodness. If you have questions, go ahead and get them in. Larry's got a few comments, but mostly he'd like to just take questions today. So if you've got questions and comments, Tamara says bad judges, bad lawyers, all the court systems. Somebody had asked right away when Hillary's going to be locked up, and I had replied that we're waiting on a court that's not rigged. And so Tamara said, yes, there are bad judges, lawyers, and all the court systems. So we have hello and greetings from people, but take it away, Larry. We've got at least 7 of us.
All right, folks, today is Friday. And I want to do something a little different today, if we can. If people would like to do it. Today, instead of me running my mouth all day, which is pretty worn out, by the way, I thought it would be good to open up the program for questions coming right out of the chute, plus comments that any of you want to make to me or Mary Ellen, or even comments you would like to make or statements you'd like to make to the group. So with that, let me start off by saying everything relevant to the impeachment process, it is as it was yesterday, as it was the day before. Schiff's going to keep doing what he's been doing, and the Republicans are going to keep arguing as they've been arguing. But as of this time, there's no major shakeup yet. Something's coming. It may come today. It may come over the weekend. It may come early week. But to try to shake that situation up, but it has not happened that I can tell you about yet. The other thing that's out is President Trump, as many of you may know by now, is moving his residence from New York to Florida. Now, I have heard from Mary Ellen that there is chatter out on the internet that he's doing it because of the high taxes in New York versus the low tax situation in Florida. That is not true. He's not doing it because of the tax burden in New York. President Trump is moving to Florida to hopefully get himself out from under the crooked New York court system, both state and federal. And it does provide, we hope, the opportunity for some change in venue in some of the issues that are pending out of that court. So don't let people, as you're talking to them, hit you with the fact he's just trying to skate out from under taxes. That is not true. Please explain to people why he's actually moving, which is, once again, so that you've got it straight from me, he's doing it to get out of being under the courts, both federal and state, in New York. They're crooked. The whole process of in New York is crooked. As you know, one of the assistant prosecutors, James Comey's daughter. So that is the real answer, and you need to spread that word around if appropriate in conversations you have. Now, I would like to open up, as I say, to questions and to comments. But remember, the comments today, this will be your chance to make a statement to the entire group, as I say to Mary Ellen or I, but also to the entire group. I don't think I do enough of that to let your feelings be known And so I'd like to make up for that today. So, Mary Ellen, if anybody has anything, please let me know. I know it's probably too quick.
Deb suggests that New York forced him out.
No, absolutely not. I do know that de Blasio, or however you say his name, the mayor, gave a very un-mayor type statement by saying good riddance. But New York did not force President Trump out. He did this of his own accord. Most of you should know by now, I don't think there's anybody or any state or any city that's going to push President Trump around at all. He wouldn't take it. But it's a very smart move. I hope he hasn't made this move too late. But it's good that he's doing it.
Kim says anyone in their right mind would get out of a state with crooked judges.
Absolutely.
Rindy said Fox News is reporting that Nancy Pelosi has announced the impeachment hearings will begin this month.
Yes.
So not just the inquiry, but the actual impeachment hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Lisa asked, what should the House GOP do, for example, those that are on the House Judiciary Committee? Because they're just being, I heard something today that was so grateful and thankful for what Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows are doing, but that they're being blocked from participating even with that committee.
Well, folks, that's the problem when you say what should the Republicans in the House, especially those on the relative committees, what should they be doing? They're doing it. They're standing up, although we don't get to see it, although we don't get to officially hear about it, but I can tell you, as much as I can tell you without breaking the law or confidence, they're standing up in these hearings and they are calling for the committee to abide by the rules of the House and of the different committees. Schiff is just not allowing it. But it is important that they keep doing it. It must be on the record that the congressmen on the committees, the Republicans, it must be a part of permanent record that they object to the proceedings, that they object every time a committee rule is violated. All of that's important, and it must be documented. And by documentation, I mean they must make their formal objection or complaint at the time, and they're doing that. Now, if you ask why, maybe somebody's asking, what difference does that make? What good is that doing? It does make a difference if it gets down to the Senate choosing to challenge whether to even hear the case. For the Senate to be able to put up a resistance to even hearing or conducting a trial, they need the documentation and the proof that the House proceedings were unfair and unethical. And that's what Jordan and Meadows and all of them are trying to do and keep continuing to do. What else?
Pam was wondering if Trump moved to Florida to help carry Florida.
Not really. The reason he moved to Florida primarily is exactly what I've told you. Now, there might be spin-off benefits. You know, it might help him get more votes in Florida. I don't know. But that's not the purpose. That's not the immediate reason for the move.
And Brenny asked, what do you mean by suggesting it might be too late that he's just now moving?
Well, had he have done this earlier, there might have been some of the issues through the court, such as, you know, the New York court demanding his tax records, some of the pending cases that they've got, that they're charges that they're trying to pull against him. Had he have done it earlier, he might have been able to avoid some of those. But he didn't, and it's too late now with the cases that exist in New York presently. So that's all I was saying. That maybe he should have done it sooner. Maybe that would have avoided some of the charges and cases being brought against him from New York, both federal and state.
Okay, Lisa asks, what should the House GOP be doing? And I think you've already just explained what they are doing. So Taji asked, are the Democrats trying to get Trump because of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? It's not what you've always been saying.
No. The Democrats are out to get President Trump and have been since his election. Look, I'm on the record. Somewhere there is a tape or a recording of me virtually right after he won the election. Virtually right after he won the election, saying they were going to impeach him, that they had to get him out.
Larry, you said the second week of July before he got the nomination that that's what would have to come.
Well, the reason I knew that, and the reason I was able to say it that early on, was because President Trump represented us. It could have been anybody. It could have been any candidate running that stood up and represented us. That candidate was marked from day one. From day one. The other thing I knew was that the progressives, the socialists, they had already put into motion, folks, the transfer of our form of government into a socialist form of government. They already had those things rolling. They were that sure it was coming, it was time. And they had played it out to the point of no return. So I simply knew something had to give. Something had to. They would not lay down and let anybody, whether it would be Trump or any other person carrying our banner, the banner of the United States of America, our form of government, our way of life, they weren't going to let anybody like that roam free for 4 years. No way. Plus, they knew with Trump, or I knew with Trump, that he was special. I didn't know early on with President Trump, I didn't know what kind of president he would be or anything like that. But I knew one thing about President Trump that made him have to go. He was not pliable. President Trump had already proven he didn't need the money. He didn't need their money to run. If he didn't get financial support, he'd pay for it himself. That made him a marked man. They have to have people in government that they can get to, that they can leverage. He was not, and I knew would not be. So he was marked.
Well, let's wait a second, folks. Called Kixley. Let's give him a second. I'm sorry, I can't edit it out. Are you still there, Larry?
Call you back.
No, you're still here, Larry. Don't go. Oh, all right. Maybe he had to take it. Is there anything? Paul asked if Trump is a threat to the establishment like Kennedy, how can he come out on top? I'm going to answer that for him. And I think what Larry would say, and Randy, you can back me up whether you think I'm right on with this because you've been here a long time. I would say that a lot is going to depend on us. And one of the things we can do right now. We have finally put up, sorry I was so late getting it done, but I put up a script last night. Barb, who runs the website, helped do that. Oh, are you back? Oh, yeah, I guess it's buffering and they kicked you. Yeah, they kicked you off. All righty, I'm plugging in the mic. Just give me a sec. So, I'm gonna find the right place to plug it in. All right. So let me tell you what's going on. I just started answering a question. Paul asked if Trump is a threat to the establishment like Kennedy was, how can Trump come out on top? And I said that that's dependent on us. And I just started saying that at nicholslive.com, the website, we just put up a script last night that is for you to use to call all the Republican senators. Now, because there's 53 of them, we did not include all their numbers. But take down this number, folks. 202. Starts with 202. That's the Washington, D.C. area code. 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121.
The difference between today and when Kennedy was president, you guys are 1,000% more aware of what's going on than people were during Kennedy's era. Trump can come out this time, but I would caution us still. You've got to stop saying Trump. He's simply the object that represents us. They are out this time to get us what they were out to do with Kennedy. They had to shut him down by stopping Kennedy. They stopped the efforts he was trying to make. But they were nowhere near as ready at that time to transform our form of government. Back then, they just weren't ready. It was years in the making, still yet to come. Now it's all on the table. Now it's here. Now it's the real deal. But he represents us, and everything they do to him, they're doing as if they were doing it to us. What else?
How many Republicans do you think will vote against impeachment?
Oh, wow. It turns out with an internal, I'm going to call it a poll, but it wasn't a poll. It was more of a survey. It turns out that the Republican senators, some 68% of Republican senators would need to be classified as either never Trumpers or could swing against President Trump if it benefited them. 68%. That's serious.
Then I guess it really does compel us to let them know how many of us side with President Trump. So get the script, share it with everybody you know who cares about this impeachment and wants Trump to stay our president, and have them make the calls too. Now, you remember, you can go to senate.gov, and if you go under contact, then there's a little drop down at the very front, at very top, where it says party. And that gives the list of all 100 senators. It has the Democrats first, then the independents, and the last 53 of them are the Republicans. So just start going through, and that list will have their direct line to their office. Now, if you call the 202-224-3121, that's the switchboard. So if you know, you can say, I want to talk to the Republican senator from, and they'll give you the choice of two names, and you pick one. That's kind of the laziest way to do it. It's best if you know who you're talking to. You do not need to use your name. Call twice a day, all week next week. Start today if possible. And just read the script and hang up. Don't stay on the line. Don't engage in conversation. If they start asking you, are you one of our constituents? Are you from our state? Don't answer. Just keep reading and get your message across, and then hang up. Because as soon as you engage them, they will recognize your voice next time around, and they'll not want to count you. So if you want to be counted, just read the script, keep on reading, talk over them, and as soon as you're done, hang up.
Yes, and what Ellen's talking about is force multiplication. That's where if you call one time, they consider you one person, one vote. But if you do it the way she's saying and stay with the plan, read the script, hang up, each time you call, they will consider you another person. Now, eventually, yes, they catch on, but you'll still get counted anywhere from 4 to 10 times before anybody figures it out. And remember what I said, 68% are either never Trumpers. Well, we know who that is pretty much. We know that's Collins and Murkowski and
Romney.
What?
Romney. Mitt Romney.
Romney. But the others in this group, we go either way based on what benefits them. And this is where you've got to understand the laws of politics. Those senators in Washington, D.C. don't care about anything. They care about nothing. They don't care about President Trump. They don't care about socialism. They don't care about anything. What they care about is themselves. If we can convince them, if they flip against Trump, they're going to lose their seat in the Senate. They will do right. They fear that. They fear losing their job more than anything on earth.
That's why the best strategy for what we can do, better than a march, better than anything else, better than emails, better than anything else, is phone calls. And tell them that you will work to get them out. You will have all your family, your friends, everybody you talk to, tell them what they're doing to make sure they lose their job. And that's part of the script.
They understand a simple human characteristic. If you go to a restaurant and the restaurant treats you wonderfully and you're really happy, food was great, they smiled, service was good, you might tell 2 or 3 people if they ask you about it. But if you go to a restaurant and they're ugly, rude, food's horrible, I mean, it's just a terrible experience, you'll tell everybody you can get hold of. Which we have on these guys, they know. If they get you to hate them, you'll tell everybody and do everything you can to get them out of office. And they fear that. And we will use that. We will use it.
Paul asked, can't the Supreme Court overrule the impeachment and throw it out? We answered that yesterday. I know Paul wasn't here.
Cannot. This is another case of separation of powers. Remember, we have three branches of government: legislative, judicial, executive. Although they intertwine in some cases and in some areas, they cannot infringe on each other's responsibilities, duties, etc. So it's the responsibility of Congress and the Senate to deal with impeachment, not the Supreme Court. Now, there could be a way the Supreme Court could be brought in, but it would have to do with procedure. If some constitutional procedure were to be violated, but not what they're doing now. What they're doing now is they're simply violating historical rules. That's not reviewable by the Supreme Court. What else?
How long do you think California citizens are going to suffer without military or government intervention?
California citizens are going to suffer just as long as the citizens of California are willing to suffer. Nobody controls that but the people in California. They're going to have to stand up. They're going to have to rally the conservative element. Yes, even the liberal element. I'm talking liberal, not progressive element. People in California are going to have to wise up. They're going to have to do it. The federal government's not going to do it for them. We're not going to be able to do it for you. If you're in California, y'all got to do it.
Got to vote them out. Ken said that 250,000 people in Pennsylvania signed a petition to impeach Nancy Pelosi. But I mean, what good is it for us to sign a petition if we don't live in her district?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Well, 250,000 people, even in her district, calling for impeachment of Nancy Pelosi would have no legal merit.
Yeah.
Unless it was converted to a recall election. But there's no reason to call for a recall election with the election coming up as soon as it is.
Yeah.
Recall elections are not, for y'all's information, recall elections are not very valuable when it comes to congressional races because they're going to have to run again every 2 years. Every 2 years they have to run. So you see, by the time you get the signatures, file the recall and all of that, you're just up on another election anyway. It's better to spend your time, effort, and money trying to get them out in the next election. What else?
Why does the press believe Schiff just like they did with everything Mueller said? That's
the press does not believe Schiff. They don't. They're not that stupid. They're in on it with him. They are the same. The media and the Democrats work together now. They're one enemy. They don't believe it. It's the media's job to take what Schiff and them do and make their listeners, readers, and viewers believe it. That's what they do. That's their responsibility. They're a public relations arm of this takeover coup. They're active as a participant in the coup.
All right, folks, I'm a little behind on trying to get through up to date where we are. I see a lot of you are asking, where's the script? I'll say it again. It's at nicholslive.com, the website nicholslive.com. I just typed that in, and I think it's right there as you first come on. It should be right at the beginning. It's going to be put under the blog heading. We tried to put script heading and that didn't work, so it may be under blog. I'm sorry, I was supposed to go in and verify everything, and I didn't get a chance to do that. But it's
let me tell y'all about the script. The script at this point, and you calling at this point, is strictly voluntary on your part. You got it? Voluntary on your part. If you want to do it now, do it. I'm for it. But there will be a time coming as this thing progresses, and if it actually manifests into going to the Senate for the trial, then, folks, we will be making a unified call for you. That's when everybody will be called on to do it. Absolutely must do it. But please understand, today, if you want to do it, I'm okay with that. Do it. But remember this today, your calling today is strictly voluntary. But there will be a time coming as this thing moves towards the quote-unquote trial phase. We'll be making another call for real, everybody.
Yeah, but this gives us a chance to feel like we're involved in getting something done. I mean, keep talking to folks. I mean, when we do what Larry's talking about, when it gets a little further down the road, we're going to do this for 1 week now. When it get a little further down the road, we're going to do it, and we'll probably do it for a couple weeks, not just 1 week. So keep talking to people about what's going on. I mean, we need to keep them very, very nervous. The next question, it's a comment from John. Brennan and McLaughlin were on C-SPAN saying, "Thank God for the deep state."
I can imagine they would say that, but I'm sure somebody controlling their spin and image probably didn't like them doing that. But I could see why they would say that, of course. As far as Brennan is concerned, hey, listen, his only hope is to escape prosecution. And what he'll be charged with carries a serious, serious penalty. So yeah, I bet he's praying and jumping up and down and doing anything he can to hope that the deep state gets back in control of things.
Well, remember, this is my comment, my opinion. Remember when Comey was so vocal and all of a sudden he's gone silent? Brennan's being very vocal, hoping he can, I would imagine, keep it at bay. It'll be interesting to see how soon he goes quiet.
He will soon.
So Pam asked, can the Republicans bring a lawsuit if Schiff won't allow Trump's lawyers to get involved?
No. Cannot. They can only go to the House Ethics Committee and make a formal complaint. That's all they do. You cannot mix the two. You cannot mix the legislative branch and the judicial branch. They cannot be interchanged like that or intertwined like that.
Somebody named Big asked, is the U.S. bankrupt?
I believe the United States of America has been technically bankrupt for many, many years. Many, many years. It started with Social Security. With Social Security, when the law was passed, there was an emergency clause. And if it ever got to where there were less, I think I'm just going this off the cuff, less than 12 people working and one person drawing Social Security, then Social Security, by the way it was written into the law, was to be shut down. Now, we're to the point to where for every person working, there are probably 3 or 4 drawing Social Security. other federal programs that have been thrown into the pile, such as the education department, such as, you name it. We just keep drawing down, and folks, there's no money. Me personally, my opinion, I have no proof of this, but I don't believe there's gold in Fort Knox. If there is, there's certainly not the level of gold that is supposed to be there. We're toast. And that's the reason somebody like President Trump is so significant. His business acumen, him understanding business, him understanding how to run a big company and get it from being bankrupt to back being where it can exist. That's what we need. But you can see they're fighting him every step of the way. Every step of the way.
Well, they don't.
One of the things proves that we're bankrupt. If anybody doubts it, look at how we're having to sell United States bonds and treasuries. We have to sell to keep money coming in. Bottom line, folks, that's like you at home. To keep paying your bills, you've got to keep borrowing money to keep paying your bills. Well, that means you're in bad shape. If you can't run a month without borrowing more money to cover it, you're in trouble. Well, look at America. Same as at your home. We have to keep borrowing money to exist. So that should be self-explanatory to the fact that we probably are, in my opinion, already bankrupt and have been.
Yeah. Okay, Hazel asked, is Hillary or Obama helping Schiff and Pelosi?
I'm going to answer it this way. Yes, they are very much helping as they can. I don't know exactly what help they can bring to bear right now. But if there's anything Hillary or Obama can do to help Schiff, I assure you, they would do it. I just don't know that they've got anything at present that Schiff needs from them. The main thing they need from Hillary presently is to keep her mouth shut and get her back out of throwing her name out there, because every time they throw or she throws her name back in the mix, it brings back up what Comey and she did with the emails and all of that.
Keeps her name and her crimes in the forefront, huh?
Yep.
Wow. And Benghazi, yeah, they keep talking about that. Do you know if Adam Schiff's sister married George Soros' son?
They're not.
Okay.
They're not.
Hazel said, I keep hearing that UN troops are in the U.S. Is that true? And if so, why?
Okay, UN troops are always in the United States of America. United Nations troops are always in the United States of America. They are here as a part of unified joint training and preparation programs. Now, there is not enough United Nations forces here in America to do something like attack us from within. Nothing like that exists. But people confuse the fact that there are UN forces here. Periodically, especially in some parts of the country, you could see UN vehicles and UN troops running around. But remember, they're here as a part of joint military training exercises, ongoing joint military exercises.
Okay, Hazel also asked, are you hearing any rumblings about Big Mike running? I mean, there are people who claim that he has a pact for 2020 run.
Big Mike?
Big Mike, I think that's Mike Pence.
No. I mean, if you're looking at him running now, no way. No way.
Okay, has Comey turned and is he talking?
He has not as yet turned. And to my knowledge, as of yesterday, as fresh as yesterday, I've heard no inkling of him talking. I do know his big-time attorney quit his case. So I doubt he's going to be saying anything until he can find a suitable replacement, if he can, for his attorney.
Diligent Deliverance suggests banish the Federal Reserve permanently, ban the IRS. They will return that will return the republic to our people to prosperity. Comment?
I cannot disagree with that. I can't. Now, the IRS as it presently operates needs to be shut down. Now, we do need an organization to help with the collection of taxes. Yes, we do. But the IRS has done, like so many other agencies, including the FBI, they have far exceeded what they were supposed to be doing. And now they're nothing less than just a Gestapo unit, an enforcer unit.
Cindy asked, what senators should we call? Just our own? No, we would call as many as you can. There are 53 Republicans. Just call Republicans. It's a waste of time to call the Democrat ones.
Yes, do not call Democrats. If you have a Republican senator in your state, call them. It is more effective when you can tell whomever answers the phone that you are a constituent. But that should not preclude you from calling all Republican senators. And when they challenge you and say, well, you're not in our district, you're not in our state, you need to inform them. And this is if you have dialogue, which you're not even supposed to have, but this is for your information if the situation ever arose. They are talking about removing our president of the United States. I don't care what state you're in, he is your president. So don't tell me that I'm not in your state, so therefore I'm not one of your constituents. You're trying to impeach my president. That's a national issue. Whatever.
Cindy was, no, we just did that. What about now? Should we focus on Murkowski, Collins, and Romney because they just got voted back in 2018, so we can't hold over them that.
No. Now, if you want to microanalyze who to call, then you should think about any senator that is running this time. Any Republican senator that has to run in 2020, that's who I would call.
Now, the way you find that out, there are class 1, class 2, class 3. That's 1/3 of the Senate that goes out every 2 years. They have a 6-year term. I had written down at what point which class is coming up next, and I don't remember. I think it's class 2, but I can't remember for sure. So when you get to contact, right next to where it says, do you want to look up by name, by party, you can also look up by class, And it'll say class 1, 2, and 3, and it'll give what date, 2016, 2018, 2020, 22, and 24. So you know which date they're coming up for election. And of course, like I just said, Murkowski, Romney, and Collins just got back in. So they're not up for election for another 5 more years. So holding a threat of voting them out isn't going to have much weight with them. But the likes of, for example, McConnell and Lindsey Graham, they are up for election next year. So we do have weight to pull with them. And Linda, Hillary, zip your lip. The Democrats want her to zip her lip. We don't. Keep talking, Hillary. Make it hard on everybody in your party. Jolie asked, why is Bill Clinton so absent right now when it's only Hillary and Chelsea giving interviews?
I can't tell you. I think they are probably working to support Hillary to try to get the Democratic Party to beg her to run again. But as I told you from the copies of the emails that I have seen, the Democratic Party would rather her shut up and go away.
James asked, is the climate change fraud a tool to bankrupt farmers to fulfill the UN goal of moving 70% of the population into urban areas and concentration camps?
You know, I don't know about any of that. I don't know. Certainly not enough to make a comment that would give any value to any of you. I, for one, my opinion, I don't believe in all this climate change stuff that's going on. I just don't believe it. We have had 10 ice ages throughout history. And for all of them, except the one that supposedly is going on now, we didn't have mass industry. We didn't have all of the things that they say today are causing, all of this stuff to happen. So, I don't believe in it. Now, the purpose of promoting this climate change agenda, I wish I could tell y'all what's really behind it, but I can't. Obviously, there's something is, but it's not an area that I deal in. It's just not what I do.
Okay. Peter says there are millions of UN troops here in underground bases and hidden in plain sight. He says, trust me.
Quite possibly, but I don't know about them. So there are millions of them. I worked with it for years. So I think I've got a fairly good understanding of what they're here for, how many are here, etc. And I don't think the number approaches 1 million. And they do not live in hidden underground bases. That's not true.
They're on some of our closed military bases, aren't they? Or just even open ones?
They're in many different places. And I'm not saying there might not be a hidden command center base somewhere that, yes, there's some of them there. It might be. But as I interpret the question or the statement was that, they're hiding out like 1 million of them underground somewhere and under. That's just not true.
Okay. I was wrong. Big Mike is Michelle Obama. So they're wondering if she's likely to run. She has said over and over again she's not running. And Larry read to us yesterday that the DNC is now going to Mike Bloomberg and asking him to run.
Mm-hmm. I have seen nothing. And guys, I'm exposed quite a bit. of the traffic from, yes, DNC. I get to see some of it, a lot of it. And there's no effort, no effort I have seen or have even the people I work with have seen or have even gotten a hint of that she is getting near or even wants to be in the race.
Okay, the next question.
I don't believe she will.
Okay, next question. When will Barr unseal the indictment against Schiff regarding the Standard Hotel and trafficking?
And I tell you, once again, put this into the category, if I did know, couldn't tell you. And if I know, I won't tell you. Something like that is his privilege, not mine.
Cheryl asked,
I don't think people understand very well, or many of you. I don't think you understand that law and what they're doing leaks getting out that they're going to indict somebody or whatever, that kind of stuff getting out, if there's validity to it, it's very damaging. It's damaging because these people know they're being investigated, but if they thought or if they think there's something for sure coming in the form of indictment or impounding a grand jury, they're going to do all manner of things that can make the case harder. So leaks are not just funny; they're not fun, and as it pertains to Barr and Durham and what they're doing, leaks can be very damaging. So remember that.
Cheryl asked, was Kennedy killed because he was trying to shut down the Federal Reserve?
Well, my opinion, strictly my opinion, after all of the years that I've looked at it, like everybody else in this audience, I certainly do not believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. One of the things he was entertaining, something he was planning to do or trying to do, was to take down the Federal Reserve, or at least strip them of the way they had it. That could get you killed. Was that the main reason? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. The only people that would know that are the people that were in at the time and, planned to do whatever they could to get rid of Kennedy. So we'll never know.
Okay, James asked, will Debbie Wasserman-Schultz be indicted for her relationship with the Pakistani Awan brothers spies?
I can tell you she is very much under review. For those of you that don't know, as it relates to prosecutors, under review is different than under investigation. She is under review, which is a step below being investigated. But it is quite possible that as Barr, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without giving too much up, but it's quite possible that as Barr looks into the predicate, which he has said he was doing, the predicate as to what happened to trigger and start the
Counterintelligence.
investigation into Trump, she will So although she's under review as are many having to do with the Obama administration and the Clinton group, even though she's under review, it's very serious. And she could be, her status could change at any time.
Paul asked, do you think a flat tax is better than an income tax?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Mary asked, what is the significance of Israel closing all their embassies?
Number one, y'all may have more about this than I do, but as far as me, I have not seen proof that they are closing their embassies around the world. If they are, at this time, I don't know what it's really about. But remember, I'm saying I have no idea that they are actually closing embassies around the world, shutting them down. I have not seen proof of that. I have not been exposed to that.
And James asked, is Bannon the real deal? Is he a true patriot?
Now, who asked that question?
James asked if Bannon is a real patriot.
Well, my opinion, James, yes, he is. Do I like everything about him? No. Do I like some of his little things he does? No. But I would never challenge his patriotism. And look, everybody, each one of you, if you were in a position to be heard nationally or to make a dent nationally, you would do it the way you want to do it. Hold reserve to the fact that people like Bannon and all of the others, they got how they do business. They got how they believe it should be handled. And so they do it their way. I can't object to that. A lot of times I wish somebody would have done differently, but they didn't. But just because someone's actions in the way they're handling a situation, just because I may not agree with the way they're handling the situation, it doesn't mean that I don't want them to keep fighting. I do want them to keep fighting. We need everybody fighting. Everybody fighting the way they can.
In that vein, Annie asked, can we override the mainstream media propaganda machines besides just unsubscribing to them? Are there reliable sources we can endorse and encourage others to listen to?
Well, there are other sources that I think are probably reliable. I can't spout them all. I would say Judicial Watch, John Fenton, they're reliable. Project Veritas, from what I've seen of the work they do, they're reliable. I hope y'all would consider this program reliable. So yes, there are some places to go where you can at least get a modicum of truth. But I would suggest to everybody, whatever place you go or look at or think about looking at, research them tight before you go buying into what they say.
Yeah. Fox is hinting that Lindsey Graham may not run again.
seen, but I have not seen that. No.
Somebody says he's tied up in the Ukraine scandal.
In the what?
The Ukraine scandal?
I don't know that he's tied up in it. I know it's odd to me, and I have so stated right here several times before. It's a bit odd to me that Lindsey Graham has not been more aggressive using his committee in the Senate to do some investigating of his own to possibly counterbalance what's going on with Schiff and Adler and that group. I don't know why he's not. I know he's not getting an order from Trump not to do it. President Trump is very keen on wishing that Graham would get involved more, but he's not.
Kim wishes there were term limits, as do we all.
Yes. By
Um,
the way, on that last question, I don't want to impugn Lindsey Graham's character. I'm not doing it to do that. I just find it odd that he's not being more aggressive, because he is the guy typically that if he wants something, he is aggressive at getting it, but he's not in this case. Now, that makes me wonder what's going on that's holding him back. That's just my opinion, and as I say, I do not wish you to take that as though I'm impugning his character. There may be some real logical reason. I just don't know what it is. Perhaps.
I'm reading through, sorry, just some of these questions because I got behind. Again, the question, how long will it take for the IG and Barr and Durham reports to come out? I think you've already addressed that. You said it's on their timetable.
Well, it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
We've got many more questions that have not been asked.
I'm scrolling through looking, Larry. Sometimes have you heard anything about the intel from al-Baghdadi yet?
I have heard some, yes. Nothing as yet that I can pass on. There's much work is being done to establish what can be declassified or not. So until that's worked out, not only me, but no one can share much about it yet. What else?
Do you know if ISIS stands for Israel Secret Intelligence Service?
It does not. Does not.
So is it true that Representative Hill is stepping down?
Representative who?
Hill, Katie Hill, for her, all those pictures of her naked on the internet.
I have not been involved in that.
And I'm going to say that I don't think you know who Good Dog is because you're not on the internet.
That makes it sound like anybody I want to know who it is.
Yeah, that's it, Larry.
Now, how many we got listening right now, Mary?
113.
That's all. We have 100 and something other days. Now we got 13.
No, 113. We got up to 160.
113.
We've had several days with 161. We've got 113 right now.
All right, folks, this is Friday. And I've got to make it 2 days. So I've got to ask y'all, would you all chip in, all 113 of you, at least $10? Could you please? Please, $10 each. And do it still haven't gotten it, so that tells y'all how long mail is getting here. So, can y'all please today, everybody chip in and help me through this?
Kevin
My
will.
voice. You hear my throat. That should tell you that I've been quite busy. It's been a hard week. And the weekend is proving to be just as challenging.
Yeah,
I can't do it without y'all.
yeah, you've been working long hours, 7 days a week recently.
Yeah. So this is me asking each one of you, would you please, personally, as a friend, no, I'm begging you, but would you please do that?
Pam did, Kevin will, Cindy will, Todd is sending 50.
Thank you.
Can anybody match Todd? Brenny's sending 20.
I'm gonna get off, and guys, next week is gonna be, if everything happens that I happen to be involved with, working with, if it happens as it's planned, next week will be a historic week. As a matter of fact, every week's historical now, but this is going to be significant. And what we're talking about is saving a country. Literally. Trying to save a country. And this is the first time that this country we're trying to save isn't some third world country and hold on somewhere in the world. It's us. And every one of you listening to me, you're as much a part of this operation to save this country as I or Mary Ellen. You are. You're just as valued. You truly are. Your mission is just as important. Maybe it's even more important than mine. Something happens to me, I'm sure there's somebody else who can do, will do, could do, may do what I'm doing or working on. But yours, nobody can replace you. Nobody can replace y'all. You're the one that you've got to mix and mingle with people. And I know that at times it's uncomfortable here in my house. Trust me, you don't think my wife wouldn't want me to stop this and go away and leave it alone. I know what it's like. Worse than y'all. But I have to stay the course. Because the country means that much to me. Join me. Help me. Help me stay doing what I do. Please. Marilyn, I'm going to give it to you.
Okay,
Y'all have a good weekend. But I'm hoping 113 of you will chip in. I'm counting on you. 113 of you. I'm counting on you today. I have to. I hope you've got my back. I certainly try to have yours at all times. Mary Ellen?
All right, thanks, Larry. God bless you, sir.
Bye.
All right, if anybody can chip in 500 or 1,000, that would be most helpful. His medical bills are very, very high. He does not have any health insurance. And his treatments are expensive and they're experimental, which is why they're so expensive, because they haven't gone mainstream yet. And so I did send his address in the chat. It's 58 Larry Nichols, 58 Kensington Drive, Conway, Arkansas, which is AR 72034. Thanks, True Freedom, for talking as much as you can. We have to all participate in that. We really do need a couple big donations. The people who have been carrying Larry since most of this year are tapped out completely, and they need time to regroup. So we really do need some people who can step up with $500. If at all possible, folks, it's desperately needed. And like I say every day, if you can't do that, please pray that somebody who is able will do it. And he did get some money that would have helped this weekend, but it has not been cleared by the bank. He cannot go to the VA hospital. I don't know for sure, but I kind of got the hint that maybe somebody scratched his military record just to block him. I mean, there is so much that is done to keep him from staying alive, to keep him from doing what he does, that he can say somebody else could replace him. But I'll tell you, with a brain like he has, it is so unusual. I just really cannot imagine anybody else doing what he can do. But he is right. Nobody can do the job that each one of us can do, because we live in our neighborhoods. We live in our communities. None of the rest of us live in the same community. So we are equally important in what needs to happen to save our freedom and save this country. So if you go to Larry's PayPal, first of all, is nicholslive@aol.com. And that's the fastest way to get money to him, nicholslive@aol.com. It takes a good week to get anything in the mail to Larry. But I put his address there, 58 Kensington Drive, Conway, Arkansas, 72034. That mailing address is on the website, nicholslive.com. A direct link to the PayPal is also on nicholslive.com. If you can't do either of those, you could send a text message to 240, sorry, I'm looking down because I'm typing it as I say it, 240-499-6729. Send a text message. And a class action lawsuit, we cannot do anything. Remember what Larry said earlier today. You cannot combine branches of government. They don't overlap to be able except very limited ways for one to influence the other or impact the other. So the only way for anything to happen against anybody in Congress is either to go to the Ethics Committee, which is right now run by the Democrats. So nothing's going to happen. And the other way is a district themselves to recall. And when we're only a year away from another election, then a recall notice that's not going to do any good. So the answer is we have to vote them out. And we have a problem because of where some of these Democrats are located. You know, Schiff is in I think Hollywood, which is a very gay community, and you know, they like what he's doing. So that's unfortunate for the rest of us. And remember, when you call senators or even House people in the House, you don't have to be in their district. You don't have to be in their state. You have the right to talk to them because they are doing things that affect the whole country. And that gives you the right to give your input. Larry cannot cash money orders. And that's one of the things that he's got some money right now that they're trying to get the funds from. It's a postal money order, and it's just, I mean, they've been waiting. They have been trying since last Friday to get that money. And so here we are a week later, and they still haven't been able to figure out how to get that money. So if you need to do anything check-wise, money order-wise, anything like that, it needs to come through me. I prefer a check rather than a money order because I can just I told you I have a Bank of America account that I use my money to pay his phone bill, and then I use money that comes in from you guys I'll deposit it and forward the money to Larry as soon as. A lot of times, because I see your name and know you're part of the team, if you will tell me you're sending the money, I mean, I go ahead and forward it to Larry. If I possibly have funds that I can do that with, I will forward it and then wait for your check to reimburse myself. You know, I'm at a point where sometimes I can't do that and I have to just wait. But you know, Lindsey Graham, there are a lot of Republicans who have the possibility to be a great American hero if they got it behind Trump. Look at what Jordan's doing. Look what Mark Meadows is doing. There are a few of them that are really doing what we want them to do. And when Devin Nunes was the head of the Intel committee, he did an incredible job. He's gone really quiet nowadays. I don't know what's happening with him, but thank God for Jim Jordan. And you know, folks, it wouldn't hurt to make a phone call to Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows' offices and tell them thank you for what they're doing. Call the White House. The White House is 202. Oh, phooey, I used to have that memorized. Just give me one sec. I could find it. White House is 202 is the area code. It's 202-456-1111. Call the White House comment line, 202-456-1111, and thank President Trump for what he's doing. Let him know you have his back. True Freedom, what are you saying for Larry money? The symbols are not coming through whatever you said, so try and clarify what you're saying about money for Larry. So if you want money to go to Larry that you need to do by check, or if you need some other way, we have a couple other ways. For example, if you have a you know, over $200 that you want to send, we can do it through Western Union. And if you don't have the ability to get to Western Union, we have done all kinds of things. I have worked with people in a lot of different ways. So Larry cannot cash any kind of check or money order at all. So anything like that would have to come through me. And like I said, I will get it to him immediately. So until Monday, have a great weekend. Please continue to pray for Larry through the weekend. I mean, folks, he's been starting work at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I know last Thursday he started at 6 in the morning and he didn't finish. He had a 2-hour nap after our program Friday afternoon. And then he was back at work till after midnight. So I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea who he's working with. I don't know who he calls. I don't know who calls him. Remember yesterday, and then if you didn't see yesterday, make sure you listen to it. You know, he gets things in his mailbox. Yesterday, he had copies of emails that the DNC sent to Hillary Clinton and Michael Bloomberg. And he read those, or he didn't read them to us. He summarized what he had seen. So, and then told us that they were destroyed after he read them. Larry's brain is incredible. What goes in does not come out, and he can access it like none of us can. So pretty incredible what he can do. So he's definitely worth doing whatever you can sacrifice for him to keep it up. Thanks. We will see you Monday. Have a great weekend. God bless you.